Safety announcement. The life jackets are stowed underneath the fixed seat.
Bad out here, a little bit overcast, not too sunny, not too rainy, just perfect for a little bit of river time action. Well, thank you for joining us on board here today, guys. My name is Alan. I'm going to be your tour guide for today. You may recognize me from such ticket lines as the one you were just in. Now, just before we get cracking here today, guys, just one thing from the health and safety announcement that you just heard. If you are joining us on the top deck today, the top deck's where I'm standing right now. If you want to take photographs, if you want to hold up your cameras, please do so whenever you like. But we are going to ask you to stay sitting down. That's for two reasons. Number one, it's so you don't fall overboard and drown, which does sort of ruin the evening, I find. And the other reason is so our wonderful captains back there, Captain Chris and Captain Charlie, we want to make sure that they have a nice clear view of the river ahead, so we don't have any Titanic remakes today, if possible. Also joining us on board, we've got the wonderful Josh back there. He's dressed in his greys and his pinks. If you've got any questions or any queries, just ask Josh and he'll look you up and sort you out. If you do need an audio guide in a foreign language, you can go downstairs and there are headphones downstairs if you do need that. Or if you're just sick of listening to me. Believe me, it happens. We also have a little snack bar on board, ladies and gentlemen. The snack bar will be closing at the halfway point, guys. The snack bar will be closing when we hit the Tower Bridge. So if you want to get some drinks, get them in right now. I find a couple of drinks does tend to make my commentary slightly more entertaining. And the only other rule is, ladies and gentlemen, when we go onto these bridges, you must wave to the people on the bridge. It's the one chance in London where you might actually get a wave back. Let's give them a big wave out there. Oh, you know, let's give them a high five. He's watching. Oh, we got just little lights on there. Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, right in the heart of the action. On our right-hand side here, we have the Palace of Westminster, aka the Houses of Parliament. There has been a palace on this site going all the way back to the Anglo-Saxons. This location right here used to be where the King and Queen lived, up until the rule of King Henry VIII. King Henry decided to move the royal family out to Whitehall, and he gave the building. It did very well. It lasted until 1834. Because in 1834, the Exchequer, the man in charge of the money, he was feeling a little cold. He was feeling a little chilly. So he decided to warm up by taking 2 carloads of tally sticks, which were these long sticks they used for measuring debts at the time, and he burnt them in the basement of the building. Well, it certainly did warm him up. In fact, it set the entire Parliament building on fire. And as the building was burning, of course, the citizens of London, they were very, very worried about their politicians, ladies and gentlemen. So they all lined up along Lambeth Bank on the left-hand side. They all lined up along there and they began cheering in support. Burn, Parliament, burn! Burn, Parliament, burn! One man to get arrested for excessive chanting, though. So if you do want to chant anything like that today, guys, you can. Just not too much. Not too loud. That's right. Now, the building you can see here now replaced that building that burned to the ground. This was completed in 1860. That is why it's referred to as the new Palace of Westminster, and it's been there ever since. Now, those of you with a keen eye, you might have noticed that there is green and red bunting along the front of the Houses of Parliament. And now, as the boat begins to turn, if you look to your right, you will see that Lambeth Bridge is painted red, and on our left, Westminster Bridge is painted green. Now that green and red colour coordination, that is not a coincidence. That's because green represents the House of Commons. Those are the democratically elected MPs. It's their job to discuss and debate new legislation. The red represents the House of Lords. The Lords are appointed by the King and the Queen, and they decide whether or not that legislation gets signed into law. And these two groups are kept separated from each other. They've got separate chambers in there. They've got separate restaurants in there. They've got separate bars in there. Yes, there are bars in the House of Parliament, sir. You see them coming staggering out of there sometimes when they've had a particularly successful legislative session. And traditionally speaking, they don't really do this anymore, but traditionally they would even enter the building across those 2 separate bridges. So the idea is you keep the 2 halves of the government separated from each other so there can be no accusations of corruption. There's no corruption in the UK, guys, is there? Of course not. Of course not. And then down the far end, there it is, the most famous clock in the whole wide world. You know it. You love it. Let's shout out its name on the count of 1, 2, 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Big Ben!
Big Ben? Well, I hate to be that guy, but technically speaking, if you said Big Ben, that is not correct. Technically speaking, that is the Elizabeth Tower. Big Ben doesn't actually refer to the clock tower. But before we get to that, let's get these Big Bens up here a wave. Hey, Big Bens! Hey, Big Bens! Hey, Big Bens! So when we say Big Ben, it does not actually refer to the clock tower, it refers to the 13-ton bell that is inside that clock tower. It was named after a guy called Benjamin Hall. And Benjamin Hall was the commissioner of the works. He was the man in charge of the team that installed the bell. And by all accounts, Benjamin was a very loud, round, noisy man who liked to tell the workers to work harder and work faster. So when they installed the bell, they thought, you know what else is big and round and noisy? This bell. So we're going to name it after you, Ben. And it's been called Big Ben ever since. So make sure you're nice to those people working for you, ladies and gentlemen, otherwise you too may end up as a London landmark, just like Big Ben. But now speaking of employers, over here on the right-hand side, it's my employer, the London Eye. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's amazing, as I am contractually obliged to say. 135 meters tall, it's the tallest cantilevered observation wheel in the world, just meaning it's supported on the one side, not on two sides. The London Eye was designed as part of a competition to design a new landmark for London for the millennium, and it did not win, it only came second place. But British Airways thought it was such a cool design,
you wanted more Harry Potter
privately funded themselves to the tune of 7
Said you wanted more Harry Potter attractions?
Oh yeah, the Millennium.
They made that money back in 2 years.
Where the death
You bought a ticket for it today, you know how they did that, don't you? Oh, lovely views from the top, nonetheless. Well, speaking of, let's give a little wave up here on the Gold Jubilee Bridges. Hey guys! Hey guys! Hey guys! Hello, hello. We get 2 for 1 on this one, the Gold Jubilee Investor League. Hey guys! That's a good thing, maybe. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you look on the right-hand side, we have the area of South Bank. This is a really nice area later on if you want a little walk. There's lots of food stalls down there, a second-hand book market, and a few other bits and pieces down there. This whole area was developed as part of the Festival of Britain that took place in 1951. It was basically put on to raise everybody's spirits after the long, difficult period of World War II. Royal Festival Hall gets its name from that festival. Very boring looking on the outside, but inside there is a beautiful Art Deco style concert hall. If you want to see the London Philharmonic Orchestra perform, but you don't want to pay for it, their rehearsals are open to the public in there, so you can go in there anytime when they're rehearsing, check the website. Sometimes you're the only person in there. It's like getting your own private concert for free. Let's give a little wave on Waterloo Bridge. Hey Waterloo Bridge! Hey guys! Hey yeah! Hey, how you doing? Hey yeah! Sir, you didn't wave! And look at my brother too. That's the rule. Sir, you know the rule. All guys, we have to wave at each other. That's the rule. Otherwise we get in trouble with the council. Now guys, over here on the right hand side, we got this big chunky looking building. This building was voted Britain's ugliest building 5 years in a row. King Charles once described it as saying it looked like the back end of a nuclear power plant. And now that is because, in fairness, lots of the buildings along South Bank are built in the brutalist style of architecture. So to our modern taste, brutalism is a bit ugly, but it was very popular after World War II because it's very solid, so it gives a sense of stability. Royal National Theatre. If you want to see a West End show, but you don't want to pay West End prices, check out Royal National Theatre. Same shows, and the tickets are only about 1/3 the price you'll pay on the West End. Now, this is my favourite building going up here on the right-hand side. You can see we've got this red brick building with the white stripes, the tall grey tower on top with the green top. This is the OXO building. Do you guys know OXO cubes?
Yeah.
OXO cubes, anybody? Yeah, there we got a couple of OXO heads in. Beef gravy, beef stock cubes. English cuisine, the finest in the world, huh? Yes. Well, anyway, this building, this is where they used to store all the meat that would go into the OXO cubes. And if you look at the tower, it looks like it's an advert for OXO, OXO, and they got in big trouble about that tower in 1930 because the River Thames is a royal highway and it is illegal to have advertising on a royal highway. So they were taken to court over that tower, but they had a very good lawyer And their lawyer said, oh, no, Your Honor, no, that's not advertising. Those are just windows that happen to be in the shape of a circle and an X and another circle. And because technically there is no law against what shape your windows can be, they actually won that lawsuit, and the Oxford Tower's been there ever since. Of course it is. Now guys, if you look on your left, you see St. Paul's Cathedral here, second largest domed cathedral in the world after the Basilica. This was completed in 1711. It's actually the fifth version of St. Paul's Cathedral. The fourth version burned down in the Great Fire in 1666. Let's see if there's anyone up here on Black Fridays. Hey guys! Hey guys! Hey! Hey gang! So this is the Blackfriars Road Bridge, and then the Blackfriars Rail Bridge is ahead. You'll also notice there's a slightly unusual collection of red pillars in the middle here. We'll be coming back to those in a little while and explaining what that's about. Now, St. Paul's Cathedral over on our left-hand side here. When this cathedral was being designed, do you know what was really popular in England? What everybody was crazy about at the time? Pineapples. Everybody was mad about pineapples, so in the original design for this building, there was going to be a 60-foot tall pineapple on top of the central dome. However, Sir Christopher Wren, he was overruled by the church in the end, and he had to settle for the two little golden pineapples that you can now see on top of both of the clock towers. See the two little golden tops? Those are both pineapples up there. And in fact, you will see pineapples used as decorations in lots of architecture and buildings from the 1700s for the same reason. It's also the reason why they're on top of the men's single club for the tennis. Let's give a wave on the wobbly bridge. Hey, wobbly buddies! Hey, hey, hey! Hey, guys.
No, that's a Millennium Bridge. That's a Millennium Bridge.
Oh yeah.
Over on the right now.
We're staying there.
Oh my goodness, there's someone on the lonely bridge. Let's try and get away. Hello guys! Yeah! Hey gang! Yeah! Oh yes! Wow! Yes! It's very hard to get away from this bridge, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Lonely Bridge. Statistically speaking, it gets the least foot traffic of any bridge in London. So that's why we call that one the Lonely Bridge. Yeah. Now, not at all lonely. On the right-hand side here, we have got the Anchor Bar, very famous riverside bar. There's been a pub here for 400 years. We had all sorts of famous people used to drink in the Anchor. William Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, Samuel Pepys, they all drank in there. Unsent Now on our right-hand side here, we have the tallest building in London, the Shard. 309 meters tall. It's the tallest building, and it would always be the tallest building because that is as tall as you're allowed to build anything according to aviation laws. Right. Now, if you want a really good view of London, you can go up the Shard for £40, but I don't recommend that. I recommend you go up, see the golden top on the left-hand side. Left-hand side, tall stone column with the golden top. That's the monument to the Great Fire of London. Now, when we come out from under the bridge, if you look to the left, you'll be able to see that up close. So the monument to the Great Fire, you can climb up that for as little as £6. I don't know. 311 steps, but it's not too bad. It's quite manageable, and there's really nice views from the top of that. There you go. You can see it there. It's the tallest freestanding stone column in the world as well. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The bridge you all came to see. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's wonderful. Oh, it's amazing. The one and only London Bridge is behind us. Take a seat, guys. Yeah, that's right. The London Bridge. We just went underneath the ugly slab of concrete. Just stay sitting down, guys, please. Is the one behind us. The one we can see in front is now Tower Bridge. Don't feel bad if you ever mix those two up, though. Lots of people mix these up. Well, it's amazing that we're very lucky, guys. The Tower Bridge, it only opens maybe 1 or 2 times a day. So we're very lucky to get to see it opening here. Just the reason it doesn't open very much anymore is there just aren't as many tall bridges as boats as there used to be. So this is quite unusual to get to see it. It must have been opening so that those guys could get their big, huge, large poles through there. Oh, and also the giant battle cruiser that Josh has just pointed out to me. That might also have something to do with it. Yes, the Tower Bridge, in its first year, it opened about 6,000 times. These days, it only opens one or two times a day, which is why we're quite lucky to see it here today. So Tower Bridge, it's a relatively modern bridge. It was completed in 1894. But the Victorians, they designed the stonework of this bridge so that it would sort of look older, so it could match nicely with the Tower of London that we can see on the left-hand side. The Tower of London itself being much, much older, from 1066. Founded, I should say, by William the Conqueror. Now, Tower Bridge is a vascular bridge, as you can see here, guys, so it opens in the middle to allow tall ships to pass through. And it's quite an unusual sight to see. We can also see it's decked out here in its red, white, and blue colours. That's relatively new. That they were painted, it was repainted red, white, and blue in 1977. It was originally brown, chocolate brown, because Queen Victoria's favourite food and thus colour was chocolate brown. So it was originally a chocolatey brown colour, but it's been painted the old Union Jack colours now. And now it's very unusual, guys, to get to go through under whilst it's open. So get a couple of snaps here. And also try and get a little wave from the people on the sides here, guys, because there is a legend that says if we get a wave from the bridge, we get 5 years good luck. I don't know if it quite counts if they're on the side, but I reckon it does. How you doing, guys? All those people are quite annoyed now because they have to wait. And actually, you can see, guys, above us, there's 2 walkways with glass bottoms. Now, technically speaking, you can go up through the tower, across those walkways, and get to the other side. And the Victorians would do that so that they wouldn't have to wait for the drawbridge to come back down again. However, after about a few months of operation, they realized that if you just waited for the bridge to come back down, because there was no elevator or anything at that time, it actually took less time than going up and along the glass walkways, so they actually fell into disrepair after only a year or so of operation. These days you can go across those glass walkways as a tourist attraction, but they're not exactly practical. If you just want to get across the bridge, best course of action is just to wait and see. Now, guys, the boat will be turning to the left in just a moment, and we get a nice opportunity to take a picture of the bridge again. Down, we get a picture of it down and up here, which is quite excellent. Also, for any of our North American visitors on board, on the right-hand side as we turn is the area of Rotherhithe. That's where the Mayflower set off from, and the first pilgrims went on board. In fact, there's a bar down there called the Mayflower.